Good morning, look at this. I'm at East Anglia's probably most photographed landmark, I would say, or certainly in the top 5. This is Southwold Pier on the East Anglian coast of Suffolk. It's absolutely gorgeous, look at it. Now, it's nearly the end of October. I'm not even wearing a coat. I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? Got a lovely sunrise. Now I'm here really to show you why I bought the GFX and the difference between medium format and APC, which is the X-T4. So I've got both cameras with me today. What I'm going to do, I mean it's a bit early at the moment, but this is the kind of scene where a Fuji GFX50R with a big sensor is going to be better, I think. Now the advantages of a medium format sensor, and there's some obvious ones, it's bigger. And my gut feeling is that because it's bigger, it's going to be better as far as quality is concerned. But let's go through it. I would say, first of all, low light performance should be better. I mean, I photographed with the GFX before I started filming this because it was so lovely. So that's going to give me a better low light performance. What I mean by that is less noise in the shadows. So that's one thing, should be better. Second thing, because it's a bigger sensor, I can crop into it. If I don't crop into it and shoot the same picture with both cameras, I'm going to produce a bigger print. That's not that important for me because I don't really print much bigger than A3 plus, so not as important. It should record finer detail because it's a bigger file. It's got a wider dynamic range, which should mean less use for a grad, and this is kind of a good day for that, although the actual dynamic range of this shot isn't quite as wide as it could be. The sun's still behind the clouds, so it's not really lit up. But what I think will be better is the colours, which the way these colours, there are millions of colours that make up even that little stretch there. And what I tend to get on an APC camera, I see that bit on the horizon, I tend to get those kind of burning out, blowing out a little bit, and I can pull them back in with Photoshop. I could HDR them, but I think even if I did that, I still think I'm going to get more colours in the GFX with a medium sensor than I am with an X-T4. So that's the reason I bought it. And it just looks fantastic. So let me shoot this again and then we'll go and have a cup of tea. Look, what a fantastic morning. Just going to turn the ISO, ISO up to 200 to make it the same. And now 6.5 seconds, which I obviously clearly don't want. And we've got 1 second. It's really got bright now. Okay, so let's do that shot, take that off, put that back on, turn everything on, 1.3, we just need to come down the exposure by fraction, 1.6. Actually, it looks better on the back of X-T4 than it does on the GFX, but interesting. Still a beautiful shot, look at this. Just can't help myself. Right, there's one more file. Right, so what we need to do now is go and look at these in Lightroom and compare them. So I'm back in the office and I've loaded both images, one from each camera, taken 30 seconds apart into Lightroom, and let's have a little look. Okay, so I've loaded the two images into Lightroom. On the left we've got the X-T4, on the right we've got the GFX. So if we have a look, I've done nothing to these. They're both shot into 100 ISO. They're both shot at f11, slightly different shutter speeds as you'd expect, because one's medium format. And if we have a look here, so everything's set here. Oh, actually, let's get the exposure right. So if we have a look at the sky, which is the interesting bit, we can see there's a lot more detail in the GFX, but that's because it's more pixels you'd expect. So if we make them roughly the same size, you can see that this is where the difference is. If I look at this bit of cloud here, I can see on the GFX there is a lot more detail. There's some pinks, some more pinks there. We've got detail in that cloud. On the X-T4 though, very, very few bands of colour. There's a band of colour there, but there's literally, I would say, 3 different ones. I mean, there's probably a lot more than that scientifically, but you can see, hopefully, there's a lot more detail, certainly around this area here. If we have a look at that, you can see there's a lot more detail in this file than there is in this file. These little bits of light here, look. See if I can zoom in a bit more. Make it a bit fairer. Even that much. So that's zoomed in. They're both zoomed in quite a lot, but even at that size, there is, I can even see subtle differences in these purples here and there. And this is the problem that I felt I was getting. It's that bit. A little bit lost around here. Where are we? It's that bit there. Look, it's that bit there. So that, I think, is this. And you can see there are colours where you should be able to see. I can definitely see there are loads and loads of different colours there, which make an awful lot of difference to the image when it's blown up. Whereas here, it's very much, there are very few, there's certainly less colours. I mean, there is a little bit there. It does a really good job, actually, the X-T4. Really quite impressed with it, to be honest. So this bit here is this bit here. Again, look how much detail there is compared with the pair of them. So that's the same bit. Yeah, that is definitely the same bit. Even though I've zoomed this out a little bit. See if I can get it looking the same actually. Move where's the post gone. If I were to do that, you can see it's like chalk and cheese really. So that's a little bit to do with the dynamic range, but actually I think even if I were to bracket an HDR, the X-T4, I still wouldn't see the colours that I've got in here. It would stop this overexposing, definitely, and it hasn't actually, but you still wouldn't get those colours in here. So I think I probably justified to myself why I bought the GFX, and I've been very pleased with it. Does that mean the X-T4 is a bad camera? Certainly not. I mean, it's done really, really well, to be fair, on this test, and I'm very impressed with it. But it's not holding up anywhere near as well as the GFX is. And certainly, working with both files, I would much rather work on the one on the right than the one on the left. Well, I hope you enjoyed that test. Not particularly scientific, I know, and there's lots of people out there who would probably do lots of different things to really show that, but I'm looking at it as a photographer who has just got an inkling that maybe some of the pictures that I've shot could have been better. This one at Blakeney is a case in point. I think the highlights in that little S there have almost blown out. I think there was a lot more in that, and I think with this camera, or anything actually with a bigger sensor, would have made a better job of it. Now this camera, the GFX, I mean, they don't make these anymore. You can still pick them up secondhand, but and it's not really a review of the camera, but I absolutely, since I've did that recording, I've been using this solidly for the last 4 months, and I absolutely love it. I think it's great. What I like about it is that everything I need is either on this little bit here, or the screen, or at the front. Everything is just operated from the camera, from my side. I love the fact that this focusing button's on the top here. On the X-T4 is at the front, and it's fiddly. You have to look around the front what's going on with it. So the files that I've got out of here have been amazing. I haven't done an awful lot of work to them for the prints that I've been producing. So well done, Fuji. I really love this. I'm sure the other 50s and 100 megapixel camera bodies are just as good, but I, for one, won't be parting with this. But to be fair, it's twice the price of the X-T4. There's now an X-T5, but this is a great camera. This does a lot more stuff than this one does. This one has got faster autofocus. It's much better for sports, for street photography. For general all-round camera, you will not go far wrong with one of these. I mean, it is a great camera, and I still use this. I've got an ultra wide on here, so 10 to 24, and I've also got my telephoto with it. So any telephoto work that I do, I use this camera, and I'm happy to do that because I don't print enormously. But this is the beast that I enjoy using the most. Camera's twice as much, the lenses are twice as much money, but I'm hopefully at some point going to be getting an ultra wide for this, because that will be really good. It's also heavier, I guess. So lots of pros and cons, but for what I do with a tripod, with a camera, maximum quality, this is it. I won't be going anywhere else for a little while. So thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Slightly different this week. Next week I'm hopefully going to be down in Dungeness, which is a really interesting place to photograph. I've been asked to review some software by a company who make it. They told me I could say whatever I want, which I will do. So it's called Dehancer. If you go to my website, there's an affiliate link there which will give you 10% off if you're looking to buy it anyway. I hadn't personally heard of it, but now I've investigated it, I'm going to find it really interesting, so I hope you'll enjoy that. I'm going to video it as a normal vlog, and then there'll be a vlog on Lightroom with it, and there'll be a vlog on Final Cut Pro with it, so that's all to come. Busy, busy, busy. So until next week, thanks ever so much for tuning in. See you all again. Take care, bye.